Hello everyone, I'm Meadow and today I'm going to talk about the Array.prototype.filter, which is one of the most useful tools to have on your tool belt. So Array.prototype.filter or filter is an higher order function that applies a given function to test each element of an array, returning a new array with all the elements that pass the test. But let's see it in action, starting with a simple example with an array of numbers that I've already prepared here just for you. So let's imagine that I want to filter this array to create a new array with all the elements that are greater than or equal 400. So the way to do this is to create a new variable, let's call it filtered numbers, and let's say that I want to grab the numbers and I want to apply the filter methods. So filter is an higher order function, which means it's a function that takes one or more functions as arguments or returns a function as its result. So the filter needs a callback, and this callback is nothing more than a JavaScript function which for each item that it's being iterated returns a value. So in this case the callback function is a predicate and it tests each element of the array and returns a value that coerces to true to keep the element or to false otherwise. So in this case we want to return item greater than or equal to 400. This means that when filter starts his job iterating over each element of the numbers array, it will evaluate if the item is greater than or equal to 400 and is keeping it in the new array or not. So let's run it and see it. Okay, forgot the console log, filtered numbers. Let's see it in action. Yes, we got what we expected. So if we try something else like less than 50, we are expecting the result to be 1,510. Pay attention to this detail because it's very important. So map and filter, they do not mutate the original array. They always create new arrays from the arrays which they use for the iteration. Okay, so another thing to have in mind is that this callback function that filter accepts as a proper signature which it was defined. So beyond the item, which is the current value being iterated, it also accepts the index and the array of values. We can check it with simple console log. So let's console log the item and let's do this quickly. So here we want to console log index and here we want to console log the array. Let's comment this console log here a little bit. And what do we have? So filter calls the array of numbers and iterates over each item, and for each item the callback is called, and we have these three console logs, which is the first item has the value of 1, has the index 0, which means it's in the 0 position of the array, which is the first, and then you have the complete array that you might need for any computation that you need to do. And that's it. For this exercise we are relying just on item, and let's simplify this a bit. And to simplify, we will want to transform this function in an ES6 arrow function. We are not going to need the braces because this is a one-liner and we want to return it as simple as this. The arrow function implicitly returns what is here, in this case item less than 50. So let's see if this works. Oh, I need to uncomment this console log. Let's go. Yes, it works. And we use to do the callback inline. So what we want to do is to move this callback function to the inside of the parentheses of filter. And this is the right way of doing it, or at least the more direct way of doing it. Okay, let's see another example. So let's comment numbers, let's move it to the top, we don't need it anymore, and let's uncomment my amazing collection of ZX Spectrum 48K games from the 80s. This time I've included some other games like Chucky Egg and Spy vs. Spy. Chucky Egg was really a great game that I loved to play when I was like 5 or 6 years old. And let's try to use filter here. So let's say that I have a big collection, not only these titles, let's say I have thousands of titles of video games, and that I want to filter all the games from the 1985 year. So simple as that. What we need to do is create a new variable called filtered games, and we are going to grab the video games variable. We are going to apply the filter, and inside the filter we already know that we need to pass a callback, a predicate, which needs to be coerced to true for the values to be included in my new array. So in this case my current value could be called current value, but it makes more sense to name things. It gets a lot more expressive if I name things correctly. So what I'm going to iterate over are games. So each object on the video games array is a game. So in this case my predicate will be game.year equals 1985. And now if I console log filtered games, the result will be Chucky Egg 2 and Spy vs. Spy, which are the only ones from my collection which are from the year 1985. So let's say that we want to know all the games that were made or were launched, released before 1984. So it's simple as that. We just change the predicate to match our needs, and we have the filtered Manic Miner game. So I think it's pretty straightforward to use filter. It's one of the best tools you can use and that you use in the front end with your front end libraries. One important thing to notice is that filter does not mutate the original array. Instead it creates a new one. So map and filter always create new arrays, no mutations. And basically that's it, folks. I hope you have enjoyed this small video. If you have any questions, don't be shy. There are no dumb questions. Just reach out and I'll be happy to answer you soon. Hope you have enjoyed this small explanation about filter, higher order function, and see you around. Bye bye.